Hello guys, Basuka here. Mainman recently made a video where he shared his warm feelings for Hwoarang, so I wanted to share my own thoughts with you. I'll hope you enjoy the video and let's skyrocket in. Please note that this is a friendly exchange of opinions about the character. I respect his opinion and I agree with a few points he makes and I'll get into them. However, I also want to address some things about how he portrays the character, cause in my opinion he does not really do him justice. Also, this type of video could be made for any character in the game right now, because we all know they are all super busted and balancing in Tekken 8 has been a mess so far for the most part. And with all that being said, let's check out what he had to say in his video.
I'm gonna get into it, how he has now infinite pressure, he has infinite defense, he has game-breaking lows, he's the god of lag, he abuses a bad netcode like no other character, and he also has no weaknesses now. They've patched it all out, and his new moves give me brain cancer, quite literally.
Okay, first things first. He is strong, yes, but let's not pretend like the rest of the roster isn't. Also, he may be a king of lag, but there's really only one god of lag. Jokes aside, Mainman says that he has infinite pressure, infinite defense, game-breaking lows, and no weaknesses whatsoever. While we are introducing the character, I would like to add that he's a rushdown character with heavy mix-ups that force opponents to do bad decisions. He is high risk, high reward, and excels at utilizing frame advantage. This demands technical skills and player creativity on the fly. That is why he's not recommended for beginners. This also separates good Hwoarang players from the bad ones. You don't see players like Edge okay with just swing for the fences and spam their way into top 8 all the time. It's more about them having solid defense, good timing under pressure, not overextending, quickly reading opponents' behavior and adjusting to it with the right mix-ups. The more information the Hwoarang player picks up, the more effective his strings and mix-ups become. It's not like you just pick up Hwoarang, press a few buttons and suddenly the character starts speedrunning through opponents. Executing his strings takes a lot of practice. You need a deep understanding of the move list and how different moves transition into various stances, and then which options you have within those stances to transition back into others. And you're doing all that while trying not to take huge risks all the time.
They press a lot of buttons, and typically, pressing a lot, it has a lot of weaknesses, but with Hwoarang, holy shit, he takes spam to the next level. The way strings work in Tekken is that they typically leave you at a position of disadvantage when they're guarded. Or they will have holes where your opponent can duck and punish you greatly for it. They're usually weak. Hwoarang is seen as an infinity pressure character. And this is because Hwoarang, only character in the game, he can tailor-make his own strings. He can infinity string.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. When Hwoarang goes Unga Bunga mode, it can get pretty rough for the opponent. But while doing all the things you hate to see, he takes huge risks. I also think it's important to consider different player levels here. Hwoarang is easily like top 5 for beginner and intermediate players to an extent. But not so much when it comes to more experienced players with a more sound understanding of the game mechanics, when to block instead of mash, when to duck, step, power crush, rage art or activate heat. Now, if the Hwoarang player lacks that mechanical understanding, isn't creative enough, can't read the opponent and has no defense, that's when they get eaten alive. And I think it should be like this, cause this defines some sort of character identity.
Look at the blue number now. You see that? Not only is it blue, but it goes quite high as well. This is to indicate that any time my opponent guards one of these attacks on block, it's heavily in Hwoarang's favor. Heavily in Hwoarang's favor.
In Flamingo, he's often extremely plus, and he can link moves together in a way that can feel overwhelming. That's the character's strength, that's part of his identity. And again, all of this comes with taking huge risks because the stances have major weaknesses like stepping, which we will cover soon. But even that is part of what defines him, it is part of his identity. If you wanna play Hwoarang, you better accept the fact that you have to take those risks.
But that means if I start swinging on him, his defense can't be that good, right? If you miss any attack against Hwoarang, he will do this. If you try to press into him, he has a parry. So if you ever try and press into him, he can do this. If you try and do lows, he can do this, which is an orbital. This will launch you. This will jump over your low and launch you. He can also do back one, this move. He presses back one and he does a super evasive step to the right.
So yes, back 3 is amazing. Good range, good damage, fast and easy to perform out of a backdash. It's easily like one of the best whiff punishers in the game. The universal down forward 2 is obviously nice too, but honestly I'd wish down forward 2s were punishable in general. Up 3+4, the orbital, is good on paper, but you'd need to have a top tier reading on your opponent to land it, or just be lucky, so it's not really used that much. Still, it's not a bad move. And that makes up for his whiff punish and keep out tools, and honestly they are pretty solid. Now onto the real defensive tools, because Hwoarang doesn't handle his own medicine too well. If he gets rushed down or pressured, his main answers are parry, back 1 or up 2, aside from down forward 3-4, which is his power crush, and it is minus 14 on block. And I don't mean this in a bad way, this is part of the character's identity, and that is a good thing. His punch parry helps in tough matchups like against Thief, and gives him the opportunity to deal with some strings. Back 1 is super evasive, but also it's minus on hit. Up 2 has a built-in sidestep left, it's homing, safe on block, but not nearly as evasive as back 1. So to sum it up, these defensive tools are quite solid, and in terms of character identity, there is really nothing else that he needs. And now back to Mainman's video, because we have a big one coming up now.
This is his standing right punch. This is 10 frames. This is the fastest attack in the game, right? Like a jab. When he's in heat, this is a counter hit launch. So then I want to ask you guys, a character with offense like this, should he have a launching jab when he is in heat?
The answer to that is no. 10 frame countered launchers shouldn't exist at all, and honestly I hope they get patched out, as Law for example also has one. Now in Hwoarang's case they should absolutely not change flappy kicks, it has to stay the way it is because it's way too important for Hwoarang's overall game plan. I think the best way to fix it would be to simply remove the heat animation from flappy kicks so it no longer natural combos in heat. Just let it function as a normal countered launcher, that way it would only combo from the forward 4, the first part of Flappy, on counter hit when in right flamingo. So that means that you would only get the first part of the Flappy kicks guaranteed when the jab hits on counter hit, as you can see in the following clip.
His down back 4, we're gonna really discuss this move soon. This is the best low in the game. Down back 4, a low counter hit launcher. This move is also 16 frame startup.
Okay, so down back 4 and counter hit into Flappy is the same issue as with the 10 frame counter hit launcher before. And again, I completely agree with the Mainman here. This is something that absolutely shouldn't have existed in the first place. Removing heat animation from Flappy would solve this issue as well and make it so that after down back 4 on counter hit, it only guarantees the first part of the Flappy. And I'll show you that in the following clip when this round ends. By the way, his new move, the right flamingo stands 4-3, it's the double mid, has also this heat animation, so I believe Hwoarang would be completely fine if they changed this.
Do you see this? So this is the mix-up I'm talking about. I just blocked a low, but if I try to do my fastest while standing punish, which is while standing 4-4, this is 11 frame startup, I get blown up. I got launched. He can do down 3-4 into power crush. Now I'm gonna try to punish. If I'm even slightly late, I get blown up, right? You see, you gotta be super fast. But if you wanna launch him, it's so difficult.
The regular down back 4 into Flappy is strong, but don't forget that Hwoarang goes all in on that. It's a mix-up for both players, because if the opponent blocks down back 4 and stays ducking, he'll be able to heavily punish Hwoarang instead of doing a small punish, which is perfectly fine. And because people like to duck versus Hwoarang a lot, he won't do Flappy all the time, because he would always risk his life and it wouldn't get him anywhere. So that's where the mind games begin, and Hwoarang starts to throw out different moves where most of them get just beaten by stepping. Hwoarang can make down 3-4 a bit more safe with right flamingo stance back 4, the power crush, which is -12 on block only. But usually after down 3-4 the Hwoarang player wants to continue pressuring, so he would really only do the flamingo power crush when he has a feeling that the opponent could block and punish. So in 9 out of 10 cases you're good to go with your punish when you block down 3-4. But again, it's a small mind game that's completely fine in my opinion.
Power crush homing. So that's very, very strong. But the dumbest thing about this attack is that if you guard this, you take a ton of chip damage and you're at a disadvantage. Hwoarang can be +5 on this, right? But the craziest thing is that if you do the right thing and duck this move, it is so difficult to punish. Do you see that?
Backlash is a very good move, but also it has 27 to 30 startup frames, so it's very slow and easy to react to. I'll admit, punishing it can be tricky because it recovers fast, and you could make an argument for it recovering too fast. MYK even said that it's plus on whiff. However, besides the recovery, which could be toned down a bit, I think the move is fine the way it is, because the homing is important, the power crush has good use while pressuring, and the speed of the move, plus being high, justifies the frame advantage on block. So honestly, I don't think they should change anything about the move besides the recovery.
He jumps in super far, like this, evades lows, makes his way in, heat engager, and it's homing so you can't step it, and not only all of that, but it's +1 on block. Advantage towards Hwoarang. So he went from having no initiation to having whatever the fuck this is. Top tier initiation.
Right foot forward down forward 3 is the Tekken 8 super move version of the former down forward 3 in Tekken 7, which was also homing, had good range, but was minus on block. Many characters have those type of strong moves now, which is a bit sad, but it is what it is. I just want to showcase that after down forward 3 on block, the situation for Hwoarang is quite tricky as well. So in the following clips you see that Hwoarang has to be careful with how he wants to continue pressure, as again he is easily stepped here.
A common counter has been to either backdash away,
which you can still do in Tekken 8, usually pretty effectively after flamingo jabs.
and another counterplay has to been, when he is swinging at you like this, try to step towards where his belly is facing. So in that instance, stepping left towards the background. These are sort of like generic counterplays that have existed towards the character. What did they do? They gave him this move. This new low that he got in Season 2 serves to counteract pretty much all of that general counterplay I just described.
As you can see in these clips, you no longer have to be obsessed with his belly. You can pretty much just step in any direction, cause they made him really steppable in Tekken 8. This is good for the Hwoarang haters, but it's very bad for the Hwoarang players. But that's where we get challenged the most and can actually grow with our main. I like it the way it is. And that is why saying that the new move, down 3+4, the homing low, serves to counteract pretty much all of the counterplay there is just false. This move can only be done from default stance, being left foot forward. It would be a counteract if Hwoarang was able to perform this move out of flamingo. But honestly, he doesn't need that, no one asked for it, but it's just there now. So just keep in mind that this move is not a real counteract, it is just a very quick homing low with very few follow-ups, cause most of your options will get stepped.
Also, he got this attack for free from right flamingo. Double mid. Once you block the first one, there's nothing you can do. You have to respect and block the second one. And he ends up at left flamingo at +4. There is no real counterplay to this. It is simply just take a guess now.
Yep, that's right. There's no counterplay to right flamingo stance 4-3 in itself, because your counterplay starts afterwards. So you are not forced to take a guess here. You can step most of his rewarding options from left flamingo stance without really taking risks.
So this is while standing 1-4. This is mid, so you can't duck on block. Natural, right? +8 into right flamingo. He'll mix you up. But for some reason, if you guard this mid-mid sequence, not a mid-high, mid-mid, he's neutral on block. Neutral on block on a mid-mid natural. 12 frame startup. And this of course puts you in another situation where you have to respect the flappy.
Yeah, you better respect the flappy. But if we commit to it or get predictable, you duck and launch him. I think this makes up for a fun mind game.
I don't know what the weakness is supposed to be of this character anymore. Perfect offense, perfect defense, 50-50s, perfect throw game, best power crushes. He's absolutely insufferable to play against in my opinion. I kind of hate Season 2 Hwoarang. I hope they do adjustments to him.
I want to show you 3 more ways to deal with Hwoarang pretty consistently. Rage Art is his biggest nightmare. Heat activation is also pretty good when he does strings and flamingo, and of course Power Crush beats many of his options as well. So this video serves to show that Hwoarang, while being frustrating to deal with, has a ton of weaknesses. I already covered that you can step him in left flamingo, right flamingo and in right foot forward. He was always weak to stepping, but in Tekken 8 it's even worse. His offense has actual flaws where Hwoarang has to go all in to keep going with the pressure. Then he also needs to be creative and keep track of the opponent's behavior. His throw game is absolutely amazing though. I can agree with that, and if you are asking me if he needs it, I'll probably say no. But he is far from having the best power crushers in the game, as I hope I was able to make arguments for. Now I'll admit that he is frustrating to deal with, especially online. But I hope people can be open enough for a new view on the character where sometimes, just sometimes, maybe it wasn't just spam you lost to, but rather good timed and well crafted mix-ups that outplayed you. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was an entertaining and informative video, and I'll see you in the next one.